for this was for you all to get to know what is happening in this industry, right? A lot of my team is working in AI prompting, right? So you must be knowing about what are the things end to end happening right altogether. So every month this is happening and it will be useful for you actually. It is useful even from that standpoint that you quit my job and you get anything. मेरे को कोई problem नहीं पड़ता उसमें, please understand that. So for that Jeevan is coming and Jeevan is basically going to give a talk about, he's one of our AI architect also, everybody knows about that, right? So listen what he wanted to talk about, what is happening with respect to agentic AI and all this, right? So Jeevan, thanks.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to the first ever meetup for AI Tank, right? I'm super honored to be talking about AI agents, and this is something that we have been working on for pretty much 2.5 years since AI and LLM have been integrated into working with our code and building applications. So before we begin with AI agents or tell you what AI agents are, let me, to help you understand and get a better perspective, I'll be talking about how AI or LLMs have evolved in a way which will give you a good clarity, okay, what AI agents are. When did we start seeing ChatGPT and all of that? It was 2022. And then right now we are in 2025. So the landscape for AI systems back in the day was pretty monolithic. What do you understand by monolithic? Now I can go telling the definition, but none of y'all, it's really not that complicated. So I'll try to explain with an example. So monolithic AI systems is pretty simple in the sense that you give it a question, who directed the movie Interstellar? Does anyone know the answer? Christopher Nolan? Yes, that's what it'll tell, right? Pretty simple. It has a lot of knowledge, it has been trained and it has a lot of knowledge, and you ask something, it'll tell you. But if I go to ask something which came later on, something like, are there any tickets available for the movie Interstellar in Bangalore? Do you think it'll be able to understand? Not really. It wasn't trained on that. There is no data for present that it knows. So that's where compound systems came in, compound AI systems. Now, what are compound AI systems? Here is where the system is given tools, access to certain tools and services that it can leverage in order to come up with a result for the query that the user has asked. It will call an external service, check the seat availability, and then respond, right? Multiple seats available for today, but it seems to be filling fast. That's what it could infer from that. It's still good, but it's like a linear path. If I tell it something, maybe there are branches here and there, but the logic flow is pretty programmatic. I have told it how it needs to be. And then came agentic systems. So here, I can ask it, can you reserve 3 tickets for Interstellar today, right? What do you think the steps it can go through? Take a wild guess, right? There are like 1, 2, 3 steps that it can go through. You know, whoever gets it right probably can get a free certification. So I'm just letting you know. Take a guess, any guess. What do you think will happen? It has access to all the tools. Anything that you can think of that you can search on the web, right? So I ask it to book tickets for me or reserve tickets. Any wild guesses?
It would, the question is pretty clear. Can you reserve 3 tickets for me? But you still require your bank data and everything, right?
Right.
It can't do that work.
Right.
You have to manually go ahead. So
right.
basically, you have to work around with AI still.
Right. Definitely. So first, when I was writing this example, I wrote, can you book? And then I knew somebody would come up with the whole financial thing, so I told reserve, right? So it's like go there and figure it out, the payment. Because payment, we're still trying to come around it, right? So yeah, first thing, it doesn't know where you are, right? So it has to check your location and then guess the nearby theaters. And then it checks which theater seating and timing you prefer based on your past interactions with it, right? So then checks the preference if the preferred time that you're looking for clashes with your calendar, if you have any meetings or something like that. And then finally reserves the ticket, again using Book My Show or something. That is not really that hard. So the main difference is here, if it fails, if it finds a clash in anything, it can go back. It can reiterate. So the entire point of agentic flow is the whole ability to reason is not taken by the program, but it's given to an LLM. You have this tool, you have that tool, figure out what to do, right? In general, yeah, it is pretty scary that how far these tools have come, right? AI models. So what are agents, right? So if you think about it, agents, I'll break it down. They're just systems with multiple LLMs inside it, where each LLM, or you can just think of as each AI, has access to many tools. And it has either full or some autonomy on how it wants to utilize that tool in order to come at the result. So if this is a mouthful, just look at this way. It can reason and it can act. And it can access your memory. Your memory is same as what you have spoken to it in the past. Why does that happen? Why is that we can't give, if I go back, right? I told partial or full autonomy. Well, it's never full autonomy. Why is that? The reason is because there are certain problems with these large language models, right? I'll get to that later, but one of the problems is it is very good at doing specialized tasks. It's very knowledgeable, it has knowledge about a bunch of things, but if you ask it to do everything, it's going to be bad or mediocre at the best. But if you train it to do something very specific, the results are phenomenal. So that is why some of the control still needs to be with the person who's creating that app, and some of the control you can give it to LLM, hey, decide. They're frozen in time, firstly. So a lot of things, if I tell today, it doesn't know what today is. I need to give today as a prompt after it goes in, right? Get the date for today and fetch it and put it there. Second thing, they're powerful, but you can't ask them to do everything. They produce extremely mediocre results for everything. That's a way special. I think of it this way. A project, when I'm going to do, I'll mostly handle the architecting and the backend, right? I can do front end, but I'm not that good at it. Now, if we get someone who knows front end pretty well, and then him and I collaborate, we can do a phenomenal job. Then we can get someone who knows the BD or business development aspect, we can get it even better. So they're more like humans. Don't ask them to do everything. Specialize each one of them or tune them for what you want to do and then make them collaborate. So that is why you can't, that's why we have multiple, I'll come back to the multiple agents later, and there's still a black box. Lot of the working inside the LLM is still, well, how do I put this? It's not very 100% clear. So we are still working around it. So yeah. So what is the actual logic flow that happens inside an agent? I ask it a query, right? Query goes, and first thing it does is always, it comes up with a plan. How do I tackle this? I have access to this, and tool. Like I have a calculator, I have a tool where I can go fetch book my shows rating or movie rating, or I can do a Google search and all of that, right? First it thinks of a plan, then it tries to execute that plan. How does it execute the plan? Well, it basically has access to all the tools. So its plan is only as good as the tools that you give it, right? Think about it. And if anywhere it feels whatever it's done is wrong, it can reflect upon it. And the best part is it can go back and change the plan. So that is what differentiates from agents to the monolithic systems, where it's a straight flow over there. Anything goes wrong, it goes wrong. You get the wrong answer. Here, anything goes wrong, it has the ability to a large extent to understand what went wrong, go back, change the plan, and try to iterate. So if you've used O3 or DeepSeek, any of those models, you see it thinks a lot, right? Those are natively reasoning models, beyond the scope of this talk, but similar to what I'm telling you. Finally, if it realizes, hey, the given answer is correct, then boom, you get the answer, right? So that's basically the entire gist of it. And finally, the future potential of this is what we are all here for, right? What can we gain from it? So I want to tell you something. We are only 2 years into this boom of LLMs, right? 2 years is a very short period of time. And in that 2 years, we've seen an exponential growth. So we've barely scratched the surface. So anybody who tells, oh, it's too late to start learning, it's too late for any of that, please don't listen to them, because it's really not. 10 years down the line, if you started learning today or 2 years ago, it will not make a difference. It will not, really. 8 years, 10 years experience, it really doesn't. And it's never been this easier to learn something with the help of LLMs, right? So that is what we are trying to inculcate with this community where we're trying to build and drive the entire aspect of trying to learn something new with the help of AI, right? We want you to build, we want you to innovate, and we are there with you in every step of the way. So always reach out, we're always there to help. And yeah, never too late to start learning. So we have everything now, and basically, yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
Any questions from Jeevan? He has tried explaining in a very simplistic way actually, right? Have you realized it?
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yes.
What one learning you are taking away from here?
Future is getting automated.
Future is getting automated. What else?
It's not too late to learn.
It's not too late to learn. Jeevan, what's your age, my friend?
I'm 25.
You 25 just a week before.
Yeah, I just turned 25.
Oh,
Okay. I'm 50.
a generation.
A generation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like 4 years, 3.5 years passed out
Since we started,
since we started.
yeah, 3 to 4 almost.
Right? Now think about someone who is really expert. Just 2.5, 3 years of experience in that part. Right? So of course this is definitely possible for anyone and everyone. Try to learn, right? This is what I really wanted to inculcate in all of you, right? Thanks.
Again, we are not just telling when learning, we are not talking about just going and coding. What we are trying to tell is use it in any way you see fit in order to learn anything that you want to learn, right? Whether you make money with it, that's a whole different aspect. Just keep learning, right? It's never been easier, that's all.